For the past 2 years, the default strategy has been simple. Pick a side between ChatGPT and Claude, pay your $20 a month, and stick to it. But treating a single closed ecosystem as your permanent home base creates a massive vulnerability. These models operate at the whim of corporate and political forces, meaning your primary tool can vanish without warning. This flowchart shows exactly what happened with Anthropic's Fable 5. It launched as one of the most capable models available, but within days, the US government forced Anthropic to pull it offline worldwide over security concerns. For 18 days, users locked into this single track had their highest tier workflow completely frozen. Internal documents suggest Meta's primary concern with tools like Claude Code was distillation, the risk that high-quality code from a rival could bleed into Meta's own training data and trigger a massive lawsuit. As you see the padlocks sever the connection, remember that corporate liability can shut down your access as quickly as any government ban. This leaves you with a very practical problem. You have to weigh the out-of-the-box convenience of a premium subscription against the reality that you are heavily dependent on an interface that can suddenly lock you out or change its rules. Relying entirely on a single provider is a risky professional strategy. To build a resilient setup, you need to detach your actual workspace from the AI model itself. The technical term for this approach is model agnosticism. It simply means using a neutral interface that lets you dynamically route your tasks to whatever AI is best suited for the job, rather than being trapped in one ecosystem. One way to do this is through a web-based aggregator like Hermes. Aggregators pull multiple models, both the open-source free ones and the premium paid ones, into a single chat window. If one goes down, you just select another from a drop-down menu. A more advanced approach is using an API-driven Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. This illustration shows the Zcode desktop workspace. You have your project files on the left, your chat at the bottom, and crucially, a model switching drop-down on the right. Environments like this let you plug in your own API keys. You bypass the standard $20 web subscriptions entirely and pay fractions of a cent only when you actually generate text or code. Setting up a multi-model environment takes more effort than just logging in to ChatGPT. We need to evaluate both Hermes and Zcode to see if the added technical friction actually produces a better final output. To track these options, we will use this matrix, mapping setup friction on the horizontal axis against output capability on the vertical axis. Hermes' Mixture of Agents splits a prompt, sending it simultaneously to two models, like ChatGPT and Claude. Results converge into a final block, where one AI synthesizes the best parts. This method scores 8% higher than Opus and 11% above GPT 5.5. There's a mathematical catch. Running multiple high-end models simultaneously means you're burning through significantly more compute power and token allocations for every single prompt. Practically, this translates to noticeable wait times. A simple question that usually takes 2 seconds might take 20, which breaks your concentration if you are trying to have a rapid back-and-forth coding session. So we plot Hermes in the medium-friction, high-output quadrant. It is an excellent tool for processing complex, singular research tasks, but it is too slow to act as a fluid daily driver. Moving to the desktop, let's look at the baseline setup for Zcode. As shown here, it lands squarely in the low-friction, medium-output quadrant. Out of the box, Zcode requires zero configuration and gives you immediate access to a Chinese open-source model called GLM 5.2. The main draw here is volume. They give you 3 million free tokens every single day. For repetitive, low-logic tasks, this is highly effective. If you drag in a PDF resume and ask it to build a modern portfolio website, GLM handles the boilerplate perfectly. It builds functional navigation bars, hover effects, and a solid layout, all on the free tier. However, free open-source models hit a hard wall the moment you introduce complex dependencies or precise mechanical logic. We tested this by asking the AI to code a 2D side-scrolling game called Jungle Run. While GLM 5.2 generated the code to open a window and draw characters, it completely failed at basic collision detection. You could press a button to shoot, but the projectiles passed straight through the enemies. The main mechanic was entirely broken. The native Zcode setup is a highly generous sandbox for standard web templates, but if you need precise logic, a 3 million token allowance won't make up for a model that cannot calculate physics. That brings us to the optimal setup, pairing Zcode with an open router integration. We place this firmly in the high-friction, maximum output territory. It takes some work to set up. Create an open router account, generate an API key, paste the base URL, and manage token billing separately. But that effort unlocks the ability to hot swap between top-tier models with a single click. You can test your initial ideas with a fast, cheap model, and then immediately switch to Fable 5 or Sonnet 5 when the logic gets difficult, right inside the same interface. To see why this matters, look at this side-by-side comparison of the Jungle Run test applied across 3 different models. On the left is the broken GLM version. In the middle, Sonnet 5 struggles with gravity, causing the character to drop straight through the floor. But on the right, Anthropic's Fable 5 produces a fully playable game where collision, movement, and hitboxes work perfectly. All 3 models received the exact same prompt inside the exact same IDE workspace. The massive difference in quality is dictated entirely by the underlying model's logic capabilities. A polished interface won't fix bad code. Your primary advantage lies in having the technical flexibility to route complex, multi-step problems to the smartest premium model available at that exact moment. The evidence shows that a single $20 subscription often leaves you vulnerable to outages, logic ceilings, and sudden bans. You need the ability to switch tracks the moment a better option becomes available. By separating your actual project files from the AI that processes them, you protect your workflow from sudden bans, restrictive IP rules, and corporate paywalls. The specific tools you choose to build this setup will depend heavily on your daily task load and how much friction you are willing to tolerate. We can map these tools into this decision matrix to find your ideal stack. For the budget learner or student, download Zcode and stick with the native GLM 5.2 model. The immediate benefit of 3 million free daily tokens completely outweighs the hidden cost of hitting a logic ceiling on harder coding tasks. If you are building complex applications, you are a workflow optimizer. Use the Zcode plus Open Router stack. You will have to manage API keys and balance token costs, but the absolute immunity to vendor lock-in and the ability to hot swap models makes it required tooling. Finally, for the casual user doing lightweight summarization or basic drafting, you don't need a dedicated IDE. Stick to background tools like Google's Gemini Spark or Notebook LM, where the primary benefit is zero technical setup. Take 5 minutes today to audit your current subscriptions. Identify which tools provide unique logic you can't get elsewhere, and which ones are simply holding your projects captive in a single ecosystem.